Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream. Sorry if I start a little early today, but today we're going to be talking about something I probably should have talked about a while ago, and I wanted to talk about for quite some time. You know, for quite some time, it's none other than Sweet Baby Inc., actually. And, of course, you know, the whole issue that's been kind of, you know, not just coming out from the, I think the video game industry, which is what a lot of people are focused on right now, but I think in general, the industry of the media as a whole, I think there has been an actual serious problem. And if you see the thumbnail, then you'll probably see, you know, one of my biggest issues maybe what's happened to Asmongold. If y'all don't know what happened to him, you know what I mean? It's freaking terrible. It's freaking terrible, actually. You know, they went after my boy Asmongold. They really did. They really went after my boy. I can't believe it. I'm not even a huge Asmongold fan, but the fact they thought they could do that to Asmongold and get away with it, man. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I've been making jokes and stuff about it, but it's like, jeez Louise, man. Jeez Louise. I don't like it. Let me actually put that right there. Let me put Asmongold. You know, Asmongold right now. You know, because I gotta actually search this up. Wow. And let's actually look at this. I mean, I just cannot freaking believe what they did to Asmongold. They really went after him, actually. They went after him, you know? You know, why gaming journalism is dying. Dude, he's been making so many videos, and they're all popping off, man. Look at the analytics. Look at this. 797 views per hour. What? This is days after. It's 2 days after. 797 views per hour, man. 1.6 thousand. And this isn't even related to that. Researchers uncover a scary trend among female streamers. Actually, maybe it is. Why content creators? Yada, yada. Well, actually, that is a part of gaming. Yada, yada, yada. Kotaku is dead. You know, all of these things. Hundreds of views an hour. I mean, it's just so freaking... He's doing so well. And 3.3K. I know it's a day only, but that is just... Holy crap. What's the most popular video? Oh, it's a Lich King. Oh, wow. Actually, this makes sense. I know some of his videos, but holy moly. It's been a while since I saw him in World of Warcraft. Like, I actually want to see... I wonder if any of these videos will get to that level. Because if that actually happens, like, if I can scroll down here and see if it's hit the 1 million viewer mark, that will be... I mean, this is years ago, a lot of these, actually. Oh, the Johnny Depp thing. Donnie Depp, oh my god. Hey, Asmongold dad. That's kind of... that's kind of nice. That's wholesome. I mean, it's been literally just a couple days, and the fact that he's hitting number... Oh, shit. Oh, no. I didn't mean to click on that. I was going to say, the fact that he's hitting numbers that are, like, doing so well is kind of what impresses me. I mean, the Dune... How the hell is the Dune MMO getting less views than... Well, I guess it just came out 10 hours ago. I shouldn't... Yeah, it's probably going to hit the numbers like this. But, like, you know, gaming journalism is dying. Already at 270K in 1 day. I mean, this is getting 9.9K views an hour. So 10 hours from now, then it'll probably be, like... 200K. So, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. But today's topic, that we're trying to talk about is... Sorry for going on that tangent there. Today, we are talking about Sweet Baby Inc. And I'm kind of taking a risk here talking about this on my channel because I feel like, you know, I've heard a lot of things about this company and the potential ramifications for even discussing them. You know, that they will actually go after you, you know, DMCA, all that kind of stuff. Which I do feel a little concerned about. I don't know if it's true. It's all a lot of allegations, but it's like... I do not want to strike on my channel at all, you know, it's just what I'm going to say, man. I just... It's just like, man. It's just... I mean, what do I say, man? All the stuff that's happened so far. I just can't even take it seriously because it's such a comical joke almost, you know, in my opinion. You know, just my personal view of this whole thing. It's so absurd with how all of it has happened. Like, just, I can't believe it. How I just can't believe how this whole thing is kind of gone. just because it's such a serious issue. You know, this is not going to be a long stream, by the way. I'm going to try and make this short, but because I have stuff to do IRL. But it's like, holy moly, I just cannot believe just how far this company has fallen. Okay. You know, this is actually, I mean, let me just say this right now. So, okay, I'm done with this. Sorry, I was just doing some stuff on my phone because I had to focus in on that. But, you know, either way, when we actually talk about this whole company, I want to say something interesting. So, Sweet Baby Incorporated. So, already we actually have to talk about the company structure. It is a corporation. It is an incorporated entity. This is not necessarily an LLC. This is just, you know, it's a little different than that. It's like, you know, if you don't know what, you know, there's different kinds of company structures out there. You know, many different. You know, there's LLCs. There's, you know, how let me say this right now. Some companies aren't actually incorporated even. There's tons of companies out there that are like proprietorships or have like a bunch of people that work on them. But they're under like one, like they aren't even like fully registered. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, usually when you're doing business, it is a good idea to get like registered, like actually on like a federal level. If you're in the United States, for example, it's the reason why there's so many LLCs out there. It's mostly due to tax purposes. You know, the IRS is very ruthless about how they tax people and the such. You know, when there is a company and the such, like when you're doing stuff, like when you're paying and you know, making stuff with your quote employees, not even employees, contractors, let's say, whoever you're working with. Let's assume there's a gratis contract or something, even if it's free. If you're a proprietorship, and of course as an LLC, you also have to do this, but if you're a proprietorship in particular, like you're an unincorporated entity, you have to give all the tax documents. You have to show all of it to the IRS, everything. You got to make sure all that shit is on fucking record. Even if you're not really, I mean, if you're not monetizing anything, then it's not quite as bad. That's a very different thing. But if you're making money, like let's say, you know, I know my audience, a lot of you guys like Caveman in Studios, and you like their game. You know, I want to like Gator. Some of you know Snoop Game, of course, and some of their other stuff. Like I love that Axolotl a lot, or that I don't know, I forgot the name. But if you know that stuff actually, then you know that, you know, they've done pretty damn well with Wani. You know, I've heard that it actually got better than some of those guys from Co-op. It's done better than their game. That's a pretty impressive thing. You know, talk about a long way coming. But when it actually comes down to it, at the end of the day, I think there is actually a pretty big deal here. And that big deal is, holy shit, you know, we have a situation where you have to show those taxes all the time. You have to make sure, you know, you have to be like an actual business. You know, a lot of people think that it's legalese. It is not. It is actually just normal business. It's how these things work. Even if it's like a non-monetized project. Unironically, I kid you not, you still usually want to maybe do that. I kid you not. You might even like, you know, people might think that's shocking, but I kid you not. Like that is actually something that is just kind of normal. Even in a free project. You know, if you make a free game, I mean, look at, you think the PlanetSide 2, sorry about yawning there, a little tired, but you know, you think the PlanetSide 2 devs don't have that? You know, you think they didn't have, like, you know, contracts and shit? Like, yeah, they did. You know, there's tons of games, even if they're free, where you usually will do that. Not all the times. You know, even if in a mod project, you might do it. Not all the time. You know, starting off, like, Caveman and probably didn't do this starting off. But in their growing pains, when they were working on a project as large, like, you know, like with Wani, you know, they ended up starting to say, okay, well, we really need to do this. We need to actually report this tax data. And, of course, because they were not a properly incorporated entity, even if they were an LLC, you know, they were more akin to, like, a single member, like, you know, just partnership LLC. You know, it's not really like a fully fledged registered corporation, which, by the way, is not an easy thing to do. You need to make money first. Hell, the whole presumption with your LLC, if you actually have one fully, is that you legitimately have enough money to actually register it. I kid you not. You know, funnily enough. And it makes sense because, you know, the whole idea of a proprietorship, for example, is that it's small business. you are the single person there. Maybe there's a couple employees, but it's not too much to manage. Over time as your business grows, though, you're obviously going to want to incorporate into something different, like a different kind of entity, just for tax purposes. Because the way an LLC is, to my knowledge, and I'm not a professional in this, to my knowledge, the way it's treated, comparatively speaking, is that the overall tax structure becomes the entity itself. Rather than you having to go in and, treat the taxes differently for every single contractor, depending on where they are. If you are a legitimately, registered LLC, then the people that are working on that project that you're paying or you're giving gratis contracts to, you can report them the same because it is tax-wise the same throughout. To my knowledge, the LLC, like a limited liability corporation, again, overall, you can do that. It's a pretty big deal. That's actually a pretty serious thing. You can actually... the tax guys will come in, they'll look at your company, and they'll say, well, you didn't pay this tax when you were giving this person this contract or this or that. You didn't do the tax that you were supposed to. If you're an LLC, then it's all you have to really pay is a corporate tax. Yeah, there's payroll tax. There's other stuff, too, potentially, on, whatever you're doing, whenever you're selling games. And, of course, then there's the fee and commission for, let's say, putting it on the very same, website. Let's assume you put on, Steam. You got to pay Steam a little bit. Not just a fee, to be on Steam, a $100 fee, which I think you have to start off with. But you also have to pay... a cut of the revenue that you're making from your game because it's hosted on that platform. It's still really good, but then, of course, on top of that, you got to pay taxes and other shit, too. And that, of course, drastically dwindles the amount of money you're really bringing back home to yourself, actually, or to your company, really, because that's really what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to, if you want to continue doing business, you're going to have to reinvest in the corporation itself. It's all just, it's a lot of logic behind it if you think about it. It makes a lot of sense. And knowing that Sweet Baby Inc., Sweet Baby is incorporated, I'm sorry for going on that tangent there, but let's actually look at this. So, founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more meaningful, more fun, and more inclusive for everyone. Okay, that's cool. That's an interesting thing to say. My question is, are those things always mutually exclusive? Are those things always good? Legitimately, it's a good question, I think. I kid you not. I think that, when you actually look at something like a corporation like this, I find it kind of interesting that this is the kind of business, they chose to do this in. I'm kind of interested because, when you're in an LLC, the whole idea behind it is you're owned by really one or more members. It's kind of like why Caveman and Studios probably chose to go that route, is because if you don't know how that works, it's actually kind of easy to have more than just one person to go on an LLC. If you're doing a partnership, for example, it's a little hard because a partnership is still kind of the idea of it is it's maybe two people, maybe a couple more people than that. As a corporation, as a corporate entity. But if you're incorporated like this, the thing that's kind of interesting is this. The difference between an LLC and an incorporated entity is that an LLC is an entity which is owned by multiple people but is not owned by shareholders. For example, I'm pretty sure that Valve, Valve is incorporated, right? Which means they have shareholders. And the largest, even if it's private stock, the largest of those shareholders is, of course, Gabe and Newell. Now, what that means for a company like this is that they have shareholders. They actually have investors in them. And that probably includes the founder of the company, or the owner of the company specifically, who has the most shares. Which is pretty interesting in my eyes, because it really says that there are a lot more players involved here than you might even realize initially, which I find kind of interesting. I'm not a professional on any of these things. I want to just preface that right now. I apologize for not doing it beforehand, but I'm not a professional. I just know a little bit about business. I know a little bit about, how these things work, like business law, a little bit of stuff like that, since, I've had to deal with a little bit of it myself, actually, as a YouTuber and other stuff, too. And the shit show that can be at times is, it's not fun. Sometimes you just want to make videos and you want to have fun. And real shit, my name, Jeff. Yes, Jeff, it is real shit. By the way, if you guys want to comment in the... you want to go in the live chat, just subscribe. It's, you'll instantly get the permission to do it. I kid you not. You will. So just subscribe and you'll be able to comment and everything else below. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting how this whole situation has gone because, again, I want to say, I'm actually kind of impressed because it's not an easy thing to get incorporated. I mean, I'm presuming that the Inc. is not just for show. That is actually like what it is. It is an incorporated entity because it is much easier and much simpler to do an LLC. Like, that's what I plan on doing afterwards. But incorporated entities, they take quite a few more steps. Like, again, shareholders, everything. Like, it's more than just you think. It's a far more paperwork intensive process, to my knowledge. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can make corporations. I mean, there's LTDs. If you're in, the United Kingdom, like depending on the, country you're in, even, and the laws that you have, there's a lot of different stuff. So, for example, even though Canada is right next to the United States, who knows what they have as laws? I don't quite know as much pertaining to that. But I would not be surprised if they're fairly similar to the United States. So there's that. LLCs, for example, last time I checked, they're created under like state laws. Like you register, like for example, we're registered in like 20 states. You're registered maybe in the state of Texas, the state of Alabama, the state of Florida. That's where we operate, right? But maybe you're not registered in the state of, let's say, California, or maybe you're not registered in the state of New York. You're in Texas, but you're not in New York. Well, shit, okay, that's interesting. That means that there's tons of different stuff that's going on there. It kind of reminds me. Have you ever watched? I don't know if you guys ever watched this company, the show called The Office. There's actually a funny scene where they're talking about the business, and they're like, "Oh, guys, the business, we may have slightly miscalculated our funds, things like that. The money, because they're possibly going down. They're going to shut down their departments. It's not good looking. It's Dunder Mifflin is the company that they have in The Office. It's a paper company, which is funny." They're like, oh, this isn't good. But something they bring up is that they are actually a company. They're a corporation, or, a limited liability one. I don't know quite which. I think they're incorporated. Yes, they are fully incorporated. I remember now. They have shareholders or something of the sort. Yeah, they have a board. I remember now. It's been so long. But something that they comment on is, hey, it's like, shit, we are a company. We overvalue, there's certain things we overvalue, made some miscalculations, and, we are across this entire state. And the thing that you might not know is, what Dunder Mifflin is a statewide corporation. They're a statewide company, which is to say they don't necessarily operate outside of a state. Now, that might not sound like much, but I will say this much. Funnily enough, that is actually a pretty impressive feat to accomplish, unironically. Because they are not just working in a city. They are working in an entire state, actually. That is like... the state of Texas, for example, that is not a small place. That's a pretty big place. That's 30 million people. Your business is statewide, not just registered, but statewide. It's pretty large. That's a pretty good thing, actually. That's some repertoire right there. And Sweet Baby Inc., clearly, I'm going to say this right now, actually. They are a very large company in the regards of what they've been able to do. When I say large company, I want to say they are very large, not necessarily in like employees base or necessarily in like just how many people they have working for them. What I actually mean by large, I mean it as in they are a legitimately widespread corporate entity. And it's pretty impressive. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I am pretty impressed by that. Like, holy crap. Like, if anyone ever knows how this stuff actually works, I want to say this right now. The gaming industry, a lot of these people have kind of, I feel like, lied about how a lot of communication works. Because I'll be quite honest with you, in almost every industry, that's the case. Where there's like the professional side of things, that does exist. And then there is the quote-unquote professional side of things. This goes for every industry. And it's where people are a lot more blunt, a lot more frank, and just honest. I recently had an interview, for example, finally, it took weeks for me to finally set it up because, he had not, I sent the emails, but I don't think they worked. Like, something wrong had happened there. But, I finally had an interview with this guy. I'm not going to actually say his name, but he's a professor at my college. He's a chemistry professor. He was in he'd been in the industry for years, in chemistry, in pharmaceuticals, drugs, things like that. Like, he had been in that industry for so many years, and he knew so much. He's such a cool guy. Right now, he's actually working in, helping deal with renewables and the such, and helping deal with actually, it's really cool, like dealing with, the residue, like the outskirts of coal mining, for example, like actual coal, like the Flemish, I think it's what it's called. I may have been wrong there, I apologize. But, the actual stuff that they put in the wells, like in the ponds, the mini lakes they had to and then they buried it and the such. Because they would get rid of the That's how they get rid of the useless, at the time anyways, for the past 70 years almost, shit, like that's the crap, like the excrement, there it is. Pretty much the excrement that was useless by coal. And, you know, he's working on that now. It's really cool, actually. He's finding ways. He's actually found a way, and he's patent pending right now, a machine in a process to reuse and maybe even recycle, you know, the actual coal itself, like the you know, cold residue. There it is, coal residue. And it's actually pretty big. I think it's a pretty big deal. It's really cool. So he's a very professional guy. And something he actually talked about was the business side of things is very different than the science side of things. And he said that there's no really, like, you know, there's a lot of similarities in the sense of truth. Like, the best business is usually the honest business, right? But, I'll say this much. There's a lot of fake it till you make it, and there's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors that you never even know about. Like, it's not like just like, oh, here's an official email, right? There's an official message right here, right? Like, all of these things. That's not really where the discussion happens. The discussion happens in a Discord. Like, I'm not saying that he said Discord, but it happens in, like, that kind of thing where they just talk to each other. They flesh shit out. They hash it out. That kind of crap. You know what I mean? That's what they do. And they're very frank. They're very honest about it. They're very blunt. You know, that's how he put it. You know, that is the funniest thing. Like, shit, they will say things that they would never say in public behind those doors together. And that's a pretty big deal. And I think the same thing happens with the gaming industry. And Sweet Baby Inc. in particular, I think, is absolutely an example of this. Going to create a counter corporation to Sweet Baby where he advises developers to make the... No, Full Metal. God damn it. Shouldn't say more racial slurs. Oh, God. Shut up. God damn it. That would be funny, though. That would be funny. But don't make me have to delete that, please, Full Metal. My name, Jeff. I pay for that to be a thing. Oh, God. Then again, that sounds like a good business idea in hindsight, I will admit. Y'all are terrible. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my Discord is being terrible as usual. It's been the worst thing ever. Just kidding. Oh, man. But, yeah, I think that's kind of what the issue is going on right now. You know, I mean, I remember... The funny thing is, on Twitter, I remember going on X, and I was just checking out what was going on Sweet Baby Inc., right? And I was actually checking this whole thing out. And, J. Jonah Jameson, Sweet Baby... What is this? Oh, this is terrible. But I remember when I was actually going on X, and there was this one person... I think they've blocked everyone, and they've kind of... You know, they've actually made it anonymous. Like, you can't, you have to follow me. I got a mutual. Only mutuals can comment on my posts, right? You know, those kinds of people and stuff. The echo chamber kind. You know, they were making a recommendation saying, hey, you know, you should, go into a private Discord and you should talk with each other and hash this out and find a way to deal with this, with these haters and with these hateful gamers. You know, I think there was someone who actually made a post about that. And it's like, you know, they say, no, that's not how the gaming industry works. We don't do that. We have everything very professional, very over the top. No. Let's be honest here. The gaming industry, out of every industry in existence, I kid you not, is probably the most likely to be doing that kind of behavior. Because funnily enough, that is actually the best kind of behavior when it concerns like being frank, being honest, being like, you know, having that kind of mutual trust. You know, that's how you cook, as the kids call it. It is how you cook. And Sweet Baby Inc. Oh, shit. Oh, my mic. That was weird. My mic just disconnected for a second. But I was going to say, that is how you cook. That is actually how it works. Okay, if you want to make a good game, that frankness, that honesty, no beating around the bush, no bullshitting, you fucking need it, okay? That is how you cook. I'm not joking. That's how you make a good game. Sweet Baby Inc. clearly does not like that kind of behavior, but at the same time is not against it either. And you're probably wondering what I mean by that. Well, considering that whole Discord thing, that whole devs thing, as I was saying before, actually, it is so clear these people are very willing to do that. They like to plot. They like to go behind closed doors, like, the Discord server, private Discord servers, little chat rooms and stuff where they talk with each other. And they're like, oh, I don't like that. Like, they do all that shit, right? But clearly they don't like honesty. Because if they were honest, I think there's a lot of, and we're about to see this action, we're about to get into it, I guess. There's a lot of stuff they've done, actually, and a lot of games they've worked on that you can just clearly tell could have had some serious work on them. They could have been a lot better. Gonna be quite frank, actually. Owaimo Shinderu. What the fuck? Carrot clips, that is not how... is how this... What how you spell that? Oh, God, chat. But, let's actually scroll. So, services, we believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Sweet Baby Inc. provides narrative consultation at any stage of development. Any stage of development. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. They will write your game from the very beginning to the very end, or the middle to the end. I mean, that's a lot. That's actually quite fluid right now. And I'll say this much. That is good business if you can do it. I mean, that's hard, because if you're not the creator of a product, I want to say this right now. I mean, it's not like you can't make it work and stuff, but usually, let me say this right now, in a creative work like this, in an industry like this, when you go into it, I just want to be quite frank. I want to be quite frank about this. It is not hard. It is not easy to write something and without actually taking it over almost completely. It's not easy. You can write it very well. You can make it exceptionally good. But to keep in mind the original creator's vision, if it was even good at all, is quite difficult. I kid you not. Let's assume they actually do good writing. Let me say this right now. Their influence is going to be huge, no matter how they want to put it. I'm serious when I say that, by the way. Their very nature of their business, when it concerns its role in the video game industry and the development of a video game, is actually pretty major. Because they are dealing with the overall themes, the overall character design, because really that's going to be a big deal. I mean, literally, if you're writing a story, you have to actually describe what they're going to look like, how they interact with the environment around you. They are inherently going to impact, because they are the bedrock. I kid you not. They are the bedrock. That's not a joke. And by the way, that's actually like a really big deal. That's a really important thing. Like, it really shows, funnily enough, that Sweet Baby Inc. is actually in charge of a very important aspect of the video game industry, or, specifically the video game industrial creation process, pretty much, and that is the story. That's a big deal. They are in writing. They are in narrative, which, by the way, those two things are not, they are both mutually exclusive and not at the same time. They're very closely connected, but they can have separation. For example, writing could be, they could delve into how a story, I don't want to say story, but really how, something is presented, actually. For example, the narrative is overall what's being said, what's being done there. Like, okay, like, oh, hey, let's look at, let's say there's an unreliable narrator and the story is being told from that point of view, actually. This is the overall plot. That is the narrative. And the writing is maybe how the script is written of that plot. For example, Dune 2, the movie, is clearly got different writing than the original narrative by Frank Herbert. That is actually a way to put it. I kid you not. That is actually the best way, in my eyes, to describe the difference between narrative work and writing work, because they both have a very important thing here. But let's assume that, like, you had a narrative, actually, and you tell them, okay, this is the story, pretty much. Like, oh, it's a princess going out to... Oh, what the heck? Oh, dang it. Dang it. No, ad. Shut up, ad. Mute ad. But I was going to say, like, overall, when it actually comes down to it, this is a big idea. This is a big deal, because those two things are effectively the bedrock for what makes up an actual game story. Assuming that is actually the thing that you're going to have in the game. It's going to have a story, at least to some extent. Even if it's really basic, that's a big deal. Writing can make or break a game. Players will sit through mediocre gameplay if they're invested in the story. I mean, that's Night in the Woods in a nutshell. No offense to Night in the Woods. That's true. I mean, the gameplay of Night in the Woods is kind of... I don't want to say lackluster or non-existent. I don't want to say that. But it is actually, it is absolutely not something that is very easy. Like, actually, I'm not even kidding. It is not a simple thing. Like, it is... it's got its... Well, actually, no, I want to say this right now. Night in the Woods is very simple, but it's not simple in the way that it interacts with the... I mean, it is. I guess it is simple, but it's very deep. It's a very deep interaction with the story itself, with how the game works. And I like that a lot. It's very aesthetically pleasing. But I completely agree. In a game like let's say Night in the Woods. Again, actually very well crafted story. Thematically, immaculate. I kid you not. But it is, gameplay-wise, obviously not necessarily as good. It's not like crazy, actually. Like, you're not going in there like you would with like a shoot-'em-up, like a horde shooter, It's not the same kind of stuff. But it's not like either one of those is bad, by the way. You can have exceptional gameplay and an exceptional story. Hell, I think that's what God of War 3 kind of had. I think God of War 3 had like this just amazing, like extremely grandiose story. And I think it had a really good gameplay. And I think that God of War 4 kind of built off that. I think Ragnarok kind of fell off a bit. It's kind of like, if God of War 4 was Infinity War, then I think God of War 5, aka Ragnarok, was kind of like Endgame, where it was like, it's good, but it's also kind of like, could have been better, actually. No offense, just saying. So let's look at this. Outreach. New and marginalized talent can change this industry if given the proper support. We want to provide this through our outreach programs. Well, this is interesting. Let's check the resources here, actually. Oh, now it's making me do this again. Well, that's concerning. It's making me verify again. New and marginalized talent can change this industry given the proper support. Yada. Industry reform. Industry reform. Presuming this industry needs a huge amount of reform. Or it did anyways. Presuming. I won't deny the fact that Activision and Blizzard definitely not helping anyone's case in that regard. I do kind of agree after seeing the shit show that was Activision and Blizzard. I mean, man, I was actually interested in potentially investing in that company too. Potentially. Not because I liked it, because I don't like the video game industry companies, the publicly traded ones. I don't like EA. I don't like them very much. Not to say that I give any financial advice. I want to clarify this. I want to preface this right now. But on stream right now, I don't really like them very much. I don't like how their products have been in recent times. I think they could be better. I think that Battlefield 5 was kind of a red herring for what was to come in the video game industry, on a larger note. BF1 was cool. BF5 could have been better. They had a Pacific campaign, but even that just was not able to save it as much as I think could have been done, Hell, I wish Battlefront 2 got a better treatment. I'll be quite honest with you. I freaking hate how that went. And I love Battlefront 2, actually, in hindsight. I mean, God, they made it so... Every patch they made that game, it made it worse. It was so bad. So bad. But that's just it. I just don't like how those companies are, and that's just my personal opinion. It's my personal thing. I kid you not. That is me. I do not like how EA runs itself at this point. How it's been making its products. Whatever they're doing, something's wrong. The industry needs some reform, but not in the way Sweet Baby wants. Right now, the shareholders and the execs at the top are not invested in making games. They want to make products. The game is the product, or a product. And I want to say this right now, Valerain. I agree with that, but I also disagree. Because they are obsessed with product. I agree with that. But that's the issue. They don't understand what their actual product is. The issue with the video game industry right now is these executives, these owners of these companies, do not know what the hell they're doing, actually. Bob Iger, for example, Disney. I'm going to actually say this right now. I've been looking into that really closely. I'm really curious. I know Disney has been in the rut before, and I know what you're going to say. Why are you bringing up Disney right now? By the way, Disney is technically partially a video game company. They have video games that are under their brand. Keep that in mind. But the media industry overall has been suffering from this issue repeatedly. And it makes sense because effectively the media industry has been populated at this point by a ton of different sycophants, tons of different people that are just so similar. Yes, they're quote-unquote different. They're diverse, but they're not really. These people, I'll be quite frank with you, are so like, statistically speaking, on average, they are cut from the same cloth. They don't really disagree with each other, which is both good and bad, because having that kind of agreement on certain things works totally. It works totally well. But there is an issue, because what it's going on here is an echo chamber. It's not really an improvement in the such. That's the issue. And these executives have no idea what their product is. These people, they don't know what an actual good person for the company is. They don't really get it anymore. When Stan Lee died, for example, on Marvel, that was it. Like, that's when you knew it wasn't going to go well. Like, legitimately. No offense, but it's actually the truth. Not because Stan Lee was perfect or he's like some kind of messiah or he was God. He's not. He was not. But it was because that was kind of a symbolic representation of what was going on here. You know, almost, I think over 80% of the statistic was that, politically speaking, you know, on average, people that go into the media industry, people that go into things like, and take this with a grain of salt because I forgot, like, the link to it. I apologize. Maybe I'll find it sometime. I'll maybe even post it in the Discord. Go check that out if you want. But over 80% last time I checked, who go into theater, who go into, like, the arts, over 80% are pretty left-leaning. They are actually extremely left-leaning, which is huge, because that is a serious amount of cognitive dissonance that can actually come up from that. That is a lot of... That is really... If that's not the breeding ground for an echo chamber, then I don't know what is. You know, and these executives, clearly, they don't know what to say here. Because they're looking at these people, actually. They're looking at them, and it's literally just a bunch of Redditors, pretty much, is the best way I can put it. I'm sorry, I'm going to be quite frank. It's a bunch of Redditors who are, you know, now taking over these companies. And they are just terrible. You know, they're so used to getting their way. They're so used to everyone just agreeing with them that the second there is some level of pushback, shit hits the fan, things fall apart, it's not good looking. This is what's happening with these companies, actually. They are pretty much being almost completely populated by these individuals, by these people who are so entitled to their, quote-unquote, their characters, apparently. They're so entitled to getting their way, actually, that they don't even think about the potential ramifications of it. They don't think about anyone else. They pretend like they do, but they don't really. And I think that's pretty serious, because that's making the product, the game, worse. They're making these games worse and worse because they are thinking that their message, whatever it may be, their viewpoint is what is deserved at the end of the day. Truth be told. They think that. And yet they don't think about the player. They don't think about, hey, how do I make this experience enjoyable for them? How do I make this in such a way that they will legitimately look at this and they will think, this is actually a pretty interesting discussion. How do I make this not an echo chamber, but a legitimate generator of discussion? You know what I mean? They don't want a generation of discussion. They just want to shove an agenda down your throat. They don't want a game which will make you think. They don't want a game that will give you a message or something that actually matters in life. They do not want that. What they want is their way or the highway. That is what they want. They have no love outside of that. They have no care in the world outside of that, actually. And this is what happened initially to the media industry, and over time, it has really started to take over the gaming industry. And I'm sick and tired of people tolerating it. I think it is not good. I think it is actually what is killing these industries. It is these people just completely and utterly flopping on it. Consistently. And they're making the consumer, you and me, I hate using the word consumer. They're making the customer, they're making the people, and even the worker to some extent, because this is not a good work environment, mind you. Like, just because a majority of your workers maybe agree with your political opinions, that doesn't make it good. Like, look at what happened with WeWork. Those guys, oh my god, what a loser. That guy was like, we're like a social company, you know, we're like a social company, like a socialist. Like, I'm like a socialist, you know? And this loser completely collapses the company, actually. Does not think of it, like, in a sustainable manner. And what does that guy do? You want to know what he did? He got away with it. He made a bunch of money off of it. Imagine a CEO getting a $40+ million payday from screwing up a company, like mismanaging it so badly. That's pathetic. That's just bad business. And Sweet Baby Inc., the thing, and is separate, but the thing that concerns me here is it's that same thing. You know, the amount of corporate bros is what I like to call them. The amount of social bros, pretty much, that are in the, like this is a capitalist thing. Like, this is unironically a capitalist thing. Like, what is going on here, actually? What are you doing? Like, it's insanity. It's craziness. Seriously. You know, they just... You know, the overall quality of these games is going down. Maybe not in technology. It's kind of like YouTube. The technology is there. The editing software is totally gotten better, actually, to some extent. Although, who knows how that might suffer in the future. Who knows what might happen there. But even though that is the case, the actual capability, like the actual people, like what they're doing with it is just miles less what could be done and what has been done in the past. I mean, just look at movies. I mean, I remember this movie called Beowulf, for example. Exceptional film. I think it's actually even better than the fucking, like, actual original story. I have read Beowulf. I have unironically read the tale The Tale of Beowulf, the actual story, and I liked the movie more than the original folk tale, The Legend of Beowulf. That is crazy. The fact that a director of a movie was able to do that, I think that's pretty damn impressive. And that was back in the early 2000s when people were cooking shit up and it was really good. And what do we have now? Now we have movies that just have barely any substance to them. And yes, Dune has come out, but I'll get into that some other time or maybe later. But that's more of an exception rather than a basis of what the rule is. In this case, I think. We have movies that are just so disappointing. We don't have the Iron Man anymore. He's dead. And we killed him, apparently. Instead, we have the Marvels. And it's just so sad because, poor characters. I feel so bad for them. It's wasted potential. They don't want devs to listen to their audience. They are not concerned with money or play reception. It's all pretentious, ideological fart huffing. That's one way to put it, man. That is one way to put it. I completely agree. It's complete ideological fart huffing. I completely agree with him, man. It is absolutely that. That's why you got to be careful with who you bring on your project. You got to try and see, and you got to be. You got to be willing to actually kick people off a project too. That's something I don't like. I don't like how people are just so offended. They're so oh my god, excuse me? Did you even think of that? If you're doing a project and let's say you're in charge of it, you actually have to you have to do something about it, okay? And it's not an easy thing to do. You really do, because it's the right thing to do at the end of the day for everyone involved. You have to, and I'm not the best at that. I wish I was more effective at it. I'm trying to get better. The only thing I've learned is I got to be more frank. Honestly. We really need to. We need to do something about this. I think that it makes me laugh how there's been this indie animation renaissance. And everyone hates on the technology behind it. They love the fact that that's the case, right? But they hate the fact that it's made it so much easier to the point in which that means that labor is now cheaper. Because that means it's more effective. Unironically, because you can do more with a single person, actually. Think about it like this. With a single person, they can draw more than ever before, digitally. Hell, even some ways, on paper, I'll admit they can actually do it more effectively than ever before, too. And a lot of people are like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Look at the indie renaissance. And that's great and all. Don't get me wrong, the writing is usually kind of shit. But overall, great. It's awesome. It's awesome to see that you are now able to draw things that would have taken so much more time than in the past. But where is the indie writing renaissance? Where is that really? Where is that coming from? Because clearly the quality of writing has taken a pretty serious downturn, if anything. I guess... The writing renaissance, I feel was the whole fan fiction thing, the Archive of Our Own, all that kind of stuff, where they're able to, people are able to make their own worlds and stuff like that, because it's not just fan fiction. Archive of Our Own, if you don't know, you can actually do that. That whole thing in of itself, you can make your own thing on that, actually. But of course, it's copyright free. I think the copyright system overall is the problem. We really need to revamp that, so that the writer themselves can actually do something more effectively there. So they don't have to be scared of how this industry functions. Because it sucks. Because I'll be quite frank with you. The writer is always at the disadvantage. The artist is the one. The one who can draw is the one who gets away with pretty much every fucking thing, actually. Regardless of how shit they are drawing. They can draw the shittiest crap. The shittiest crap. It will literally be garbage. It will be so bad. It will be embarrassing. Literally. No substance at all to it. Nothing behind it other than just the shallow flash and aesthetic behind it. But they will get away with it. The substance that most artists get is not from their self anymore, which really sucks, because I think that's what's happened here. I think what has happened with the industry is there has been a divorce from the artist and the writer, who is also an artist, by the way. They're both artists. But because of that, the writer no longer has someone to really, as easily breathe into life their vision and work with, and in turn also give them that inspiration to bounce off of. Because I think that, as a whole, these artists have just kind of taken advantage of it all. But I think at the same time, it is also that, in turn, the artist, on the other hand, has lost the substance. It's no longer depth anymore. It's just overly complicated drawings and exceptionally like, oh, look how well I drew this painting. What's the point of the painting? Tell me, please. I'm serious. Like, what? What is actually the point of your painting? Tell me, please. I want to actually know what made your style do that. What was behind it? Please, I want to know a specific what. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why do they have to do that? Why do they have to justify that? They don't. They don't have to. But if they don't, then what does it mean? What's the meaning behind your crap? Is it just substanceless? Is this just a pretty little fart in the wind? Is that what this is? Like, I mean, is that it? It's shit. It's fucking shit. It's a golden turd is what it is. Is what you're telling me. And that is not a good thing. And it's what's going on with the industry right now. Because we are making a bunch of flashy, really pretty pixie dust, kind of like, oh, wow, look at this. Look how pretty it is. Look at my drawing. Wow, did you see my Twitter post? Oh, wow, it's so pretty. It's so good. Look at that, that kind of shit. But do you actually have anything behind your art? Do you have any, like, real substance and soul to it? The answer is no, not really. At this point. Hell, a lot of the time, it's so... I mean, hell, look at where a lot of the money is going. It's going to degenerative stuff. No offense. The truth of the matter is, I have seen drawings on for affinity. I've gone undercover because I was interested where the money was going on this stuff. For these kinds of things. And the art industry is very heavily driven by not safe for work stuff. Heavily driven. Especially in the indie scene. I have seen dudes who, unironically, get paid $5,000 to $7,500 for drawing a semi-lewd painting. Not even lewd. Just a semi-lewd painting. Digital. Not even like a poster, not nothing. Just $5,000. Oh my god. And I don't know what the fuck they're doing with it. I don't even know if they're donating it. I don't know if they're using it for anything good for humanity. I have no idea what the hell they're doing with it. But whatever it is, I'm so sad. I mean, I know it sounds kind of mean. I know it's kind of a ruthless thing to say. But I think that what I'm saying here is actually kind of a good point. Legitimately. It is not a good sign. It is not a good thing that not safe for work stuff is what artists are so reliant on. Because I don't think they actually like it either. I think a lot of artists genuinely would much rather do something different than drawing a furry portrait of someone nude. Like, I don't think anyone wants that. Oh my god. I don't think most people want that, And yet, what does it do? It makes the industry go down in that regard. The indie industry, specifically. And it's sad. I mean, hell, even the writers. I've actually seen fan fiction writers. Not even... no, I shouldn't even say fan fiction. Just writers who write things that are just so... Ugh. They put it up for auction for people to bet on. Like, to say, oh, I'll pay you this much. And you know what? If... A lot of those guys, they get like $1,000 plus. Not quite as much as the artist, but they get a lot of money too. Sometimes more, sometimes less. That's impressive. I mean, holy shit. It's just the degeneracy. It's like, why? What the hell? There was an adopt that went up for a character, and the auction closed at something in the market of $6,000 for the rights to that character. Holy fuck. I mean, $6,000? A solid $6,000. Jeez. You guys don't see my face, but like, oh my god. The thing that pisses me off the most is, like, just how people, like... I feel like I've made a mistake recently. I was not firm enough, and I was not public enough in my actual declination to do something. I feel like I should have been more firm about it. And in hindsight, I feel very uncomfortable with where it might actually go. And it's like... You know, I feel uncomfortable with these people because these people just do not. A lot of them, they just don't really care about how old someone is. And I mean, look, I'm not saying that you should judge everything based on age, but I find it uncomfortable when I find out, oh, hey, you know, I mean, Carrot Clips, for example, you know, this guy right here, like, he's a nice kid, but you should not be in this stream, kid. Like, this is an adult thing. You know, I'm tempted to banish you because you are not very old, apparently. You know, you're a nice kid, but it's like, you shouldn't be watching the stuff you watch. And that's me, right? I'm actually acknowledging that. I've legitimately told him, hey, you shouldn't do this. He's a good kid. I want to say this right now on the stream. He's a good kid, but it's like, go play Roblox. And actually, maybe not. You know, I've heard Roblox has gotten questionable stuff, but it's like, I tell him, you know, listen to your parents. Listen to your mom and dad, things like that. Any of your authoritative figures, if you can, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, be careful with, like, strangers, but, you know, listen to people that have your best interest at heart. But the thing that makes me feel uncomfortable is while I acknowledge that, and I'm super careful with it, right? You know, with these streams, for example, I label them 18 plus. I label them not for kids. I label them that, right? A lot of these people don't actually care about that in the video game industry and more. A lot of these people, like, if they see an artist who they think is actually, you know, semi-talented, like 16 or 17 or some shit, you know, maybe still in high school, they will try and get them. And I'm not saying that's not like, it's not like you don't want to get talent. I'm not saying that necessarily. But no. Like, if you are 17, you're still in high school, I'm not going to work on a project like that with you. I'm not going to work on a video game with you. I'm not going to work on that. Let me say this right now if you're listening. Please just leave any project that you're working on that's with, like, adults and stuff. Just do it. It's not bad. It's not because it can't be good. Just finish high school. Focus on yourself. Focus on school. Listen to your parents. I'm actually serious right now. You know, I kid you not. Please just listen to me. If anyone is listening who's doing something like that, please don't let someone else speak for you, like, on your behalf. Actually just, you know, I mean, the thing that really hates me about that is that people like that, kids like that actually, who are 17, I know they're almost 18, they're almost adults pretty much, and being 18, you're an adult. I want to clarify that. But you're a young adult. Okay, you're a very young adult, actually. And that's perfectly fine. If you're 18, you're 18, okay, bud? You understand me? That's the truth. But if you're below 18, hell, even if you're about to become 18, the truth of the matter is you're still kind of a kid. If you are still in high school, you know, I'm not saying you can't work on these projects per se. But it's like, I don't think you should. I think you should focus on yourself. I think you should legitimately go outside and talk with people. You should not be on Discord, you know, pretending like you're older or not saying what your age is when clearly you're not supposed to be that young. Stuff like that. You're not supposed to be that young to be on a server like that. Like, I'm very obvious, okay? And it just makes me feel uncomfortable. Because, you know, when you talk to somebody and you say, hey, I'm comfortable working with you, you say something like that, you say something like that professionally. You actually say, hey, look, I feel uncomfortable. And they don't want that as an answer. Okay, I get it somewhat. But when they start to try and barter somewhat, and they try and talk about how, like, oh, someone's an asset. When it's like, what do you mean by asset? And he's like, oh, well, you can get rid of them after, like, in the future. You know, for now, just work with it. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be quite frank, I'm not going to fucking do that. That's not how I roll. I'm honest. From beginning to end. I'm not going to fucking do that shit. You know, I'm serious. Like, if I ever work on a project with you, I do not want to fucking just work on it and then be like, okay, I'm going to kick him off. You know, hell, if I have to kick you off, I'm going to be fucking pissed about it. I'm actually going to be sad. I'm going to be fucking depressed. I'm going to be mad. Those are the two emotions I'm going to fucking have. Because I don't want to kick you off. There's a reason why you're on it. If you are on a project that I'm working on, there is a fucking reason behind it. Do not pretend. Do not think that you are not there for a fucking purpose. You understand me. You have a purpose. However, things do happen. Shit happens. And if it seems like you shouldn't be on the project anymore, I will be very frank about it. I just feel like creative differences, anything like that, I will say it. My biggest mistake is ever beating around the bush about something like that. It's the truth. And I think that's how a lot of people should operate. You know, I do not think you should give pushback on something like that. You should not be like, excuse me? What? Oh. You gave us this like it was candy to a baby. Shit like that. You know, you shouldn't act that way. You know, I mean, what happened with Caveman in Studios, for example, is what I'm really referring to here. You know, the shit show that happened there is depressing. Because what they pretty much did was they opened up to the community. They got these Redditors, I'm going to be honest with you, these Twitter guys. And what they did was they opened it up, actually. They had new people come onto their team and stuff. Shit like that. Huge fucking mistake. These people maybe could have worked well, maybe, but they chose not to. They did not cook, as some would call it. And it's sad. I won't deny it. It's very sad. But it's also very upsetting. You know, it's very sad because over time, the person who actually created Wani, like created the story initially, got kicked off his own project. Imagine that. I don't want to be the one to fucking do that. If I can nip that in the bud before it ever occurs, I'm gonna fucking do it. You understand me and shit? Even if I know that I can very effectively make it so that that's the case, actually. Even if I know I can practically ensure that I can kick those people off eventually. Even if I know. I'm not going to do it. Because I don't fucking like that. I'm not that kind of person, okay? I'm not like these people in the gaming industry who love to do that kind of shit. Who love, you know, in general, in the art community. They fucking love to make people feel paranoid. They love, you know, even if they don't want to admit it, they legitimately like to fuck with people. They like to come in and say, oh, you're making people uncomfortable. They like to say that shit in DMs. They like to do that to you. And if you ask and people say no, then you don't know what's going on. What's going on is they are telling you that because they want to say that you're making them uncomfortable, and they're trying to make it look as though they have a posse behind them and shit. It's a dick move. And it's a very manipulative tactic, too. But it's what people do. It's why they also like to say, oh, well, maybe you're kind of racist. It's kind of a microaggression. Shit like that. They like to use that because it's manipulative. They can actually do it to make you feel like you're the bad guy. It's not cool. It's not cool. I'll say that right now. It's really wrong. But they love to do it. And Sweet Baby Inc., it just, you know, the vibe I get off of them is just so bad. So freaking bad, man. It's just so bad. Oh my god, I just saw my Discord. Oh my lord. Dear fucking god. Oh my god. I shouldn't take the Lord's name in vain. Okay, geez, wow. It's a cool character, I guess. By the way, Narita, shout out to him. He's a member, not member, he's a booster on the Discord. I hope it was worth every penny. How the hell, dude, let me say this. How do these people, how do they afford this stuff? Oh my god, thousands of dollars for a painting, man. For a furry painting. I hope it was worth it too. I mean, it's cool. Gun, oh my gosh. It's a cool character, I guess. I mean, yeah. But it's like, jeez, man. I mean, what do I say? I'm looking at this on the Discord. Y'all don't see it, actually, but it's so bad. Oh, God. This is so bad. Some stuff in my server is just so bad. Oh, Lord. On the Discord, it's so goofy, man. I don't know how I feel. Like, It's just so bad. Like, it's like, what the hell am I even watching here? You know, and it's just like, it's infuriating. You know, it's upsetting. It's just like, I mean, what do I even say at this point? I feel like this whole situation is just absurd. Like, the idea behind it. I mean, I'm legitimately at a loss for words. Man. You know, it's just like, I mean, what do I even look at this as? I mean, how else do you look at this other than an extremely bad situation that the industry finds itself in? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that you can really say this is a healthy industry when this is the kind of stuff that is actually going on. You know, it's just, God. It's just not good. Like, it's bad. It's a bad situation, man. And it's like, you know, I mean, God almighty. What do I even say at this point? Jeez. A kinder and more collaborative industry is what they're saying, man. You know, sweet baby. The very name is not good either in my eyes. Talk to us, portfolio reviews, workshops and Q&As. Writer workshops, that's cool, I guess. Dedicated mentorship projects. Dedicated mentorship projects. What is this? What is this? Interesting. Let's check this out. Oh, is it not going to work? It's not work? Oh. We occasionally set up entire projects with the purpose of letting mentors and mentees build something together as they learn and share knowledge. We're not running one of these at the moment, but can let you know when it happens. Interesting. How old are these mentees? What are these projects like? I'm curious. Sweet baby. Sweet baby. They really like kids. I mean, shit, it's the truth. I mean, I shouldn't say it like that, but it's like, it's such a weird thing, the way that they explain. I remember they explained their logic behind the name. And it's like, what? Are these people that just give you everything you want? Is that the problem? Like, is that what you want? You know, and I mean, logically speaking, that's why you like kids, right? Isn't that the whole logic behind that idea? If you think about it. Because, I mean, really, like, who's the easiest to work with? It's children who will do anything at your beck and call. You know, I mean, it's just how I look at how this might go in the future. You know, not saying that it is, by the way. I want to clarify. I'm not making any allegations towards Sweet Baby Inc., but it's like, in my eyes, the audience that they actually want to captivate the most in the video game industry is probably kids. And it makes sense. It's been that way for years. Of course it has. But it's like, it's not for the right reasons in this case. In the past, it hasn't even been that good either. It's been for profit. But for this, it's just ideological dogma, I think. That's just my view. And I mean, I feel uncomfortable because it's like, what does that mean for the industry? Like, in the future? Like, kids? I mean, is that just something we should normalize? Like, you know? Like, because I get it, but it's like, propaganda is propaganda, but this is just on another level to me. Like what we've seen. I guess this is it. Okay, so we have maybe Q&A. What's the difference between a game writer and narrative designer? On a game team, a writer is someone who writes all the words that are in the game. A narrative designer is someone whose job is to figure out how the story is told in the game. David, narrative designer and the COO of Sweet Baby Inc. Chief Operating Officer. Okay. Podcast. CEO Kim Belair chats with Indie Game International. External resources for support, connections, and opportunities. And opportunities, interesting. Get on a private Discord, probably. I don't know. How to prepare a great portfolio. Cool. Workshops Inkel, a script writing software. Interesting. I guess it has a good format. Usually I just use Google Docs, but Inkel, interesting. I'll keep that in mind. Baby Q&A. How do you handle feedback? How do you know when to take it or not? Feedback is easier to take and incorporate when you're real clear on the integrity and intention behind your story. Because every story does have infinite possibilities, but only some of those possibilities will be right for your story. I agree with that completely. That's actually a good statement. Louisa, writer, plus narrative designer. I agree with that statement. You would think that if that was the case, if they really believed that, their stories would be better written, but okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What programs would you recommend for game dev design? Well, that depends. Personally, I feel like RenPy is not bad for, I need to learn RenPy a lot more, but, Python's a pretty good language in general. It's used by a lot of stuff. It's used for game development. It's used for, of course, data science and the such. Personally, I will admit, Python, it's a very slow language. I honestly think C# is the best for programming. I'm not a professional in that, by the way. I just did high school computer science, and I'm sad to say that I never really got to the level I wanted to. But I'm thinking of getting back into it soon. But overall, C#, it's a very effective language. Probably the best I can think of if you're trying to do a more complicated game. But if you're doing like a visual novel, Python's probably the way to go. It's the best language I can think of. But if you're doing a more gameplay intensive, kind of game, then yeah, I agree. C# is the way to go, in my eyes. C++ is something people use, but that's more for web design, I believe. But C#, HTML is what a lot of people use for web design, but like C# is gaming for real, like 3D gaming. Through Unity, yeah. I still can't believe this, chat. Like the friggin' fact that someone bought an adopt for like $6K. Oh God. $6,000. The market is what decides, man. The market is what decides on whether or not something is valuable. It's true. It's what the market does. Here we go to the next one. Let's see this. Baby Q&A, what programs would you recommend? Let's see what they actually... I actually went to university to learn game design and got a lot of good experience from it. That's great. Having dedicated blocks of time to learn, iterate, and present multiple games really helped me beef up my portfolio and figure out the rest of the roles I was best at. That's not really an answer to the question. I like using RenPy. I was just naming something specific here. I should probably put that in a link below just in case. But RenPy, yeah, it's what Snoot Game was was created off of. It's a pretty good game, especially for an indie team. Python overall, it's a very good language. It's easier to learn and implement. RenPy has a lot of tutorials out there. I'm going to try and teach myself, actually, so that I can maybe help program more effectively. I apologize for not already knowing that, because I really should. But I want to do that, actually. Python is a cool language. It's a very useful one. Any programmer will tell you Python's a good language. For the most part, other than, in certain things. They will say it's a very slow language, though, compared to, like, C. But it is a good language. It's better than Java, in my opinion. But... I'm a little surprised that Amber Lay doesn't actually specify, because it's asking for, like, what programs, like, clearly. And I will say this much, I know this is probably not what they're trying to do, but I know a lot of people who will, like, try and do, like, they'll answer questions like this, and they're typically the reason they're doing it is because they like to dodge the question, because they know that if someone else is going for, like, oh, hey, how can I start out? They don't usually want you to actually start out well. They don't want to actually, they want you to go through the same fire. And it's not because they want you to come out better for it. It's usually because they want to look at you and say, this might be a competitor in the future. They will never say that's the case. But I've been in, like, closed chat discussions. I've been behind those closed walls, man. I know that people think, like, on YouTube, for example, truth be told, they're like that, man. That's the truth. They don't want competitors and shit. So they will not, they'll give you a generic response like this, or a misleading one even, where they'll say, like, hey, be yourself. Stuff like that. Like on YouTube, just be yourself. You'll get it, man. Eventually. It's bullshit. Cameron says, Baby Q&A, how do you write a good story for a game? Cameron says, writer, narrative designer, inclusion editor. The written story of a game is good when it understands where it sits as one piece of a larger whole. Basically, coherence trumps a lot of other metrics in my opinion. I actually somewhat agree with that. That's a good point. That's a good point. I actually somewhat agree with that statement. Let's go back. So those are some interesting statements. I'm curious about why they didn't more effectively do stuff. So let's look at the newsletter. Oh, I can't. Oh, I gotta actually. Wow. Okay. I guess that makes sense. All right. I gotta actually get the stuff there. Let's see their projects. Sorry about that. Projects. We love making games, no matter the size or scope, and we're always excited to help you tell the best story possible. Featured project: Sable. Heard this game could have been better. Sable is an open-world exploration game where you're free to go wherever you want to discover who you are. We wrote the game, bringing Sable's inner voice to life and adding dimension to the incredible cast of characters she meets on her journey. Winner, Best Narrative, 2021 PC Gamer. Announced projects: Alan Wake 2. I heard that they switched her race around, but I also heard that the first game actually did that too, where she was initially black in the book that it was based off of, but the actor, I think they made like white or some shit, which is like, okay, I guess. I was not really, no one knew that because it's like a game, but like, you know, then they made her black again, which, you know, is kind of okay. It's just a little weird. God of War Ragnarok. All right, that explains a bit. I will admit God of War Ragnarok could have been better. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't a bad game, but it felt a little bit... Oh, darn it. The ads in the background. Yeah, but I will admit God of War Ragnarok, not a bad game. I didn't play a lot of it because I didn't really buy it. I had like other people I played with and shit. And it was not like a bad game, you know. The story was okay. But overall, I will say I kind of wish it was a little better. Oh, I don't know why. I'm sorry. You know, I started the stream a little earlier than usual just because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be up so late. I want to be able to go to sleep a little bit sooner, you know. You know, I want to work on stuff too. I got to apply for jobs. Gotta actually get a job. Apologize. Breeze in the Clouds. You know, the question you have to ask, here's the thing that sucks about Sweet Baby Inc. You know, you can never truly discern how, on these projects, any of these, like every single one of them. You know, unless you go really deep in and, you know, a lot of stuff is actually uncovered. You cannot actually discern, truth be told, just how much influence they have on these projects. You can't. By the very nature of writing job, you can't really unless you get access to the scripts, you get access to the plot diagram, everything. You have to get access to practically everything just to see just how, you know, what scope the game was actually being written into. Oh, bye, Sweet Baby. You don't know. We don't know. We don't know if they actually took over for these games. And they'll say, no, we didn't. But that's not necessarily true. They may have, without you even knowing, and they might not have officially done it, but they may have still done it. And you don't know. I mean, look at Goodbye Volcano High. My lord, I can't believe that, actually. That's funny. That is a funny thing to look at, considering the games that we've been playing recently on my channel. Spider-Man 2. I will admit that story was kind of dookie. The gameplay was pretty fun, though, although it was a little buggy at times. Usual June. Or is it yeah, just Usual June, I guess. Not unusual, just Usual June. I don't know what that story is. It's kind of interesting, though, I guess. Interesting. You know, The Squad. I'm not going to say the name of that out loud, but, you know, The Squad game. Lost Your Marbles. Sorry, List. I can't believe I said that. Lost Your Marbles. South of Midnight. And The Crew Motorfest are some games. Now, let's see their clients. Their clientele. We have Xbox Game Studios. Wow, that's a big one right there already. I mean, Xbox Game Studios, if that's a client of yours that you do narrative design for their games on, first of all, that's actually huge. I mean, how many games is that? That's Xbox exclusives. You need to realize something here. You know, the thing that's actually kind of a big deal is that the whole idea about, you know, behind an exclusive title in of itself is that it's a private source. Like, it's not an open source thing. It's a privately sourced thing, a product. You know, it can only work for the most part. You know, your access is usually limited to it on that console. Like, you won't have it on PlayStation, for example.
You know, Xbox will have the game on Xbox only, usually, for a period of time. Maybe eventually it'll go to another console, but for the most part, you know, the copyright, the money, it will be going to Xbox. It's a private source thing, you know. But the thing that's a plus with that is it allows greater control for whoever created, you know, the company, you know, the corporate entity that created the product, in this case a video game. Like, let's say Xbox created Halo, Xbox Game Studios or Bungie, you know, they created that, right? It allows them to effectively, more so anyways, make their game. It allows them to make it exclusive. They get more revenues, they get more direct stuff, all this actual stuff. It works more effectively. On the other hand, when you look at something like open source, like PC games, like PC gaming, like Lethal Company, for example, that game is an open source thing. You can have any kind of computer. You can have a Dell G15, you can have a Linux, you can have all of these open source platforms, actually. And they should work. More or less, unless your processor is shit. Like, you can have an AMD processor that's advanced. You can have an i7. You have an NVIDIA, you know, GeForce, whatever the hell, you know, let's say graphics card. These things, you could switch them out, and as long as it meets the standard for what the game needs to run, it will run, regardless of computer. Console games are not like that. They are privately sourced. They're not open source. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, it's kind of bad when you have a company like Sweet Baby Inc. coming in and circumventing that process. The whole idea behind it is that it's more effective than having the market simply determine it. Rather, you have the watchful eye of the corporate entity itself watching as, you know, something like the story is being written best. You know, the best writing of a story is not always fan service. Sometimes it's writing it as you see fit. And that allows you to make a better story that the audience didn't even know they wanted. And that's how you generate good content, quote unquote. Sweet Baby Inc. in this case seems to have circumvented that, which is not good. You know, for console games, that is particularly not good. For PC, it's not as bad because we're open source. We have tons of different people. Anybody can make a game pretty much. But if this was a mostly closed source, like private source, like not an open source thing, not good sign. Would have been even worse than the gaming industry, for the gaming industry. I will say that much. Electronic Arts, Valve even. True Love, Santa Monica Studios, 2K, Ubisoft, Square Enix. I'm going to say all these names, man, because these are apparently their clients. Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Games. Sorry, Warner Bros. Games. Which I'd assume is owned by Warner Bros. Wow. Finji, Polytron, Rocksteady Games. Rocksteady, wow. I wonder what that happened. I wonder what happened there. Co-op. That's the Goodbye Volcano High people. Shout out to them, I guess. Oh, Lord. Whatever this is. I don't know what that is, actually. Lucky them, whoever this is. Let's find out. Shedworks. Oh, and it's the Sable game. I hope it was good. I hope they did well there, actually. I legitimately do. I shouldn't be so mean. Compulsion Games. Wow. ME. Chance Agency. Avalanche Studios Group. Deck 9 and Brass Lion Entertainment. My lord. That's crazy. I mean, this is a large clientele. I told you before, they are well connected. Now, how did they set up all these connections? Well, apparently, the owner, this lady, was in the gaming industry for a period of time. Apparently. Now, was it word of mouth that spread this stuff? Was it that? I don't know, but I think it seems a lot like she just got to know a lot of people. Like, she got a lot of connections. She looked at everyone around there, and she's like, yes, if they could just do what I want. Like, legitimately, it's how it looks like to me. It feels that way. She's a social butterfly. I'll say that much. That's really what this is. It's very effective. It's very impressive, I will admit. But it's concerning. It really is. It's actually terrifying to think that somebody like this got this many connections. I mean, just look at this. I mean, I've heard stories of people connected to Sweet Baby Inc. who have
who have unironically said that they will try and get rid of, I kid you not, they will try and get rid of people who don't like Sweet Baby Inc. They will actually try and make sure, hey, you will not work with any of our clients. And of course, let's look at who their clientele is. If you want to get in the gaming industry, sorry, buddy, this is all of their clients. This is all of the people they work with. Fellow Traveler, even more. Oh my God, it didn't end at Brass Lion. Wizards of the Coast, Nariel, People Can Fly, Echo Software, Juvie Productions, Glitch Games, Remedy, whatever the hell this is, Panic, we code out that, wow. Raw Fury, they're an app developer. Raw Fury, Fellow Traveler, I mean, all of these are app developers, effectively. They make games, they make applications. Holy crap. Let's see this, actually, the racism thing. So here we go. We got this, this lady. Let's actually go here. Let's see a shout out to Ryan Kindle. No. Let me check this out. I gotta actually find the video. Let me just go into something and lessen it a little bit. I don't know if I can actually show the video. I might have to just 1 second. I don't wanna get copyright striked. Oh God. The internet versus Sweet Baby Inc. and the journalist. I talked to this creator of Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. Jeez, I would like to click on. I've watched these videos, by the way. I know it shows this right here, but that's just because I went through it. Well, not skipped. I went through it. She can't stop lying. Wow. I mean, this is just craziness. I mean, legitimately. I'm sorry. I've watched a lot of these videos. Some of these have restarted. I watched ASMONGOLD. It's legitimately kind of cool. Just how bad this got. I actually gotta. Let me try and move this. Let me try and move this away. Let me actually try and see if I can. Crud. Okay, one second. Because I know I'm gonna click on the video. You're gonna hear maybe the audio, but I can't. I know I can't actually show it because I'll get copyright striked, even if the person doesn't want to copyright strike me. But here we go. Let's actually look at this. Let's see this. Okay, I've already donated. I've actually donated to this charity, Uma Relief. Shout out to that charity, actually. Uma Relief. Let me actually say that right now. I've donated, I think it was around $10 so that they could get a hot meal. I did it anonymously, though, because I don't want anyone to know who I am, and I just want to hope, I just hope that the people in Palestine are doing better, even if I don't like, the culture there, and I don't like the stuff. They're still human beings, so they deserve respect. Legitimately, I hope that the people in Palestine, the situation there is better. I'm fairly well educated on the situation that has occurred. This is a very long one. This has been in decades. This whole situation there. I know it's a tangent, but I will say this much. That war, that conflict between Israel and Palestine has been going on for decades at this point. Almost a century. And technically speaking, if we go between the Muslims and the Jews in general, it's been going on for centuries upon centuries. Dear God. But let me just listen to this. Former Sweet Baby Inc. dev destroyed for lying about insane viral video. Let me actually check Twitter. Let me actually check Twitter right now, actually, instead of listening to this guy. Let me check Sweet Baby Inc. dev, Sweet Baby Inc. Baby Inc. racist video. Can I actually see that? I would like to see this video. I want to find the lady that, Here it is. Here's the video, actually. I hope I don't get copyright striked.
I'm a team of...
I hope there's nothing... by the way, I got rid of any NSFW stuff. I made sure that it's all, my settings. I made sure that I don't see anything sus. Or at least I have to click to view it. So let's see this woman, actually. This is Dani Lalanders, a non-binary game developer. She was hired by @Cliffhangers Devs to create a game based on @Marvel's Black Panther. She said that's a pretty big deal. Black Panther is a big freaking character, actually. He's, Wakanda. He's legitimately a pretty big deal. She says she doesn't hire white people because they're unsafe and it's hard to work with them, and only hires people of color, which is just a nice way of saying she only hires black people. Oh God, it's the truth.
I'm a team of 21 right now.
21. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's a big team. That's fudge. It's not huge per se. Well, actually, let me say this right now. 21 people. Okay. Assuming, depending on the project, this is a visual novel. Actually, what kind of game is she developing? What is she? She's probably going to elaborate, but what would she, for 21 people? That sounds about right for a visual novel project. Unironically. 21 people? Actually, including herself? Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's say 22 if she includes herself, 21 if she doesn't. Sounds about right, because you'd have the artists. You have 8 artists, maybe around 6 writers at most, maybe less, actually, depends on the situation. 4 writers is a nice number. You'd have maybe about 8 to 10 almost artists, not assuming that you don't count backup artists. You'd have, maybe 3 to 4 programmers, maybe less, depends, and you have like a music guy, maybe like 2 or 3 music people, like maybe just 1 actually at most, like 3 music people. You do not need that many people. Like 1 music guy is what you'd have. If you want to have a dev team, let's assume you're not modding, like you're actually making a whole game, a whole ass game from the start. 21 people. That's actually, for a visual novel project. That's pretty reasonable, actually. That's a pretty reasonable number. I don't know what she's working on, though. If she's working on a Black Panther game, 21 people, holy crap. That's pretty small. Shit. Depends on what the game is, though, I guess. Then again, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. 21 people? maybe. I guess, I don't know. I don't have as much experience with, like, developing a game that is, like, 3D, like, Spider-Man. I don't have as much experience with a game like that. The most I have experience with is like 2-dimensional. Like I've got programmer like people I know like who are in that kind of space, and when it concerns dealing with like 2D games, like Night in the Woods, for example. Night in the Woods is a really small game. And by the way, it takes a while to make a game like Night in the Woods actually, even then, because you don't have that many people. But Night in the Woods is a game which has like quite a few, like obviously if you want to make it like faster, you'd have quite a few artists. You'd have a narrow amount of writers. You always want to have like not too many writers, which is kind of funny when you think about what that means about the 2 roles. And you're, of course, going to want to have, like, the music guy. Still about, like, 1 musician and stuff. Not too large. Actually, 21 might even be bloated depending on the project you have. But if it's a visual novel project, that's not too bad because you need to have the artists on the sprites. You have to have artists that work on those sprites. You have to have artists that are able to make concept art. And also just people that you can work with, like, hey, can bounce stuff off with the writing team even. There's, you want to develop a pipeline, of course, for how this stuff actually works. But overall, this is the kind of stuff you have. 21. Visual novel project. That works pretty well. Black Panther, cool, like Spider-Man style game. Whoo! Man, that's not small. It's actually, it depends on how, I guess it depends on like what the roles of the people are. Because if you have like 10 like programmers, man, that could work. If they're talented, especially, that could work. You have like a couple artists, that works as well. Don't get me wrong. The artists and programmers are the ones you got to think of because they're the ones who really speedrun the process. The writers are the ones who are actually going to make the game, they're actually going to make the background of the game, like what's actually going to happen. They're the ones who set everything up. The artists, let me put it like this: the writers are the foundation in which the artists and the programmers build off of. Because if the writer is not good, then the game is not going to be good, for the most part. We're going to be quite frank. Last of Us 2 was kind of shit, for example, kind of a shitty game, mostly because the writers were just not that good. It had all these cool mechanics, potentially, and all this good stuff, but let me put it like this. The writer, for a game, has to keep something in mind, and they have to keep in mind not just the story itself, but how the player interacts with the story, and that includes gameplay. There could be cool features. Let me say this right now. You could have a programmer who is making super cool features, who is the top of the line, like literally the best programmer ever. Let me say this right now. If the writer is not smart enough to actually take advantage of that and say, hey, you have this really cool idea, programmer, you are able to actually make this super cool thing, right? You're able to actually do that. And you looks at the programmer like, hey, you can make this cool mechanic in the game, right? Let's use that. If he is not able to do that, then, and by the way, you don't need to do that, by the way. I'm saying, like, if he can't do it, in the case when he should, like in The Last of Us 2, like, let me say this right now. How much of The Last of Us 2 is really gameplay compared to the rest of it? Like, when you play the game, how much of it is really... Like, how much of it can you explore? How much of the game's, like, overall mechanics can you truly explore? The answer is not that much. It's kind of like The Last of Us 1, where it's a lot like a movie almost, like a game movie, which is not bad. Last of Us 1 was exceptional, right? Everyone loved that, pretty much. It was exceptional. It's a video game movie. Legitimately, Telltale Games, same thing. It's a very good movie, right? It's very good. But The Last of Us 2. Let me say this right now. Last of Us 1. Actually, let me go back to there. The Last of Us 1, even though it didn't have as much gameplay, was still able to, when it did have gameplay, deliver. It used its mechanics so well. For what they were at the time, they were revolutionary. Like, legitimately, they were actually, like, they were modern. Like, they were state-of-the-art shit. Like, they were doing stuff that other games had not done, or were trying to do, but had not done as well. They were really good. Like, they were the top of the line. Naughty Dog back then was really good. The Naughty Dog of now is not the Naughty Dog of yesteryear, is my opinion, and what I see, okay? Literally, both figuratively and literally, with the layoffs they've had and other stuff, actually. It's just not the same anymore, in my view. And that's what sucks. Because what has actually happened is, truth be told, you know, the hijacking of these people, the hijacking of these companies, the hijacking of these, that's how I view it, you know, the hijacking of all of this. It's just bad. It's just terrible. And it concerns me. You know, I think that's what happened with the second game. Kind of reminds me of The Legend of Korra, for example. Like, you know, the first game, the first series, like Avatar The Last Airbender. If you don't know, the guy who actually made that work, he didn't work on Korra. The guy who actually was really good, the one who made like the story really for what it was not the one who worked on Korra. The other two, which wanted to do some weird things in the first series, I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole nother discussion. They're the ones who worked on The Legend of Korra. Carrot Clips, I'm gonna put you in timeout. I mean, actually, can I? Carrot Clips, I feel like you're too young, bud. Like, you shouldn't be necessarily watching the. Oh, you're putting the buddy. Thank you for putting you put your own channel in. Carrot Clips, I think that you are a little young for this stream. Okay, bud. Can I just, remove? I feel like you shouldn't be on this stream. You're too young, buddy. You've been a member for so long, and I thank you for that. But you're kind of young, bud. I will hide you on this channel. You are now hidden. No one shall see your speech, Carrot Clips. I'm sorry, Carrot Clips. You can DM me if you want to be timed out, because I think you're young. I'm sorry. I don't want you to interact with the chat if we ever get more people on here. No offense. I mean, it's a thing, I guess. I don't know how to, like, I wish that I could, like, say, I wish there was a choice where I could say, you will not see my stuff anymore, you know what I mean? No offense to you, Carrot Clips, because you're cool, but it's like, you're just kind of young, so, you know. No offense. But, as I was saying before, it's like, when it comes down to it, it's just kind of crazy to look at in hindsight how much these people have taken over. Like, they really have. I mean, they pretty much inherited everything. Like, they took over, man. And I don't think they know what they're really doing. And I'm sorry for, like, stopping this. I just want to give some commentary, because 21 people, fucking hell, that's actually a good number. That's a solid number. It's a solid number of people on a team.
I have a team of 21 right now.
Yeah.
For Validate. It's a pretty big team.
It is a big team. I'm actually going to be honest with you. That's a pretty large team. I kid you not. You know, for a mod project, you don't really need that many people. You know, for a video game, like, you know, a visual novel, you don't need that many people, but you do want that many. Like, 21 is... I actually want to clarify this right now. This is not a bad number. Like, let me say this right now. As someone who's actually seen, like, these teams before, who's kind of, you know, even been in the loop with them, I do want to clarify, actually. You know, that's actually not a bad number. That's a solid number. That's a solid-ass number. I'm going to be real with you, man. Like, you guys. I'm actually going to be very real with you. I mean, quite frank. Legitimately. Man, I feel freaking lost sometimes, man. Sorry, I'm just doing something in the background right now. All right. Oh man, why is a kid? Why that kid's gotta be that carrot kid? That's who I was messaging just now. He's too good a kid. I'll be honest with you. Like, that kid's too freaking nice. Like, I'm not even joking. He's a good kid. No problem. Keep going and never give up. Why you gotta give me like that, man? Why you gotta get me in that mood, man? I love streaming whenever people come in the stream and they say stuff like that, man. Why y'all gotta be so nice, man? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Carrot Clips, man. Like, I know you're still watching, and it's just like you're young. I know for a fact you've gotta be kind of young. I think. Sheesh, thank you so much. All right, let me go back to this right here, what I was reacting to, actually. So let's actually look at this lady, so.
I have a team of 21 right now
Yeah.
for Validate. It's a pretty big team.
It's a pretty big
crazy
team.
big team for indie games.
Absolutely, that is freaking crazy, actually. That's huge. I mean, I'm not even joking. I mean, I'll actually say this right now. Indie games, let me say this right now. It has become much easier to go onto, like, a community and make your own thing than ever before. Like, unironically, especially if you're, like, a YouTuber like me. Like, it's pretty dang. Oh, wow. I'm going to apply. But, you know, let's actually look at this here. But, yeah, she's totally right. That is actually fairly large. Let me see this right now. Usually dev teams are only, like, 2, 3, 4 people. And, you know, historically, the indie dev mentality has been this. The less people, usually the better. Because the less people you have, the less... Usually, the less you have to deal with clutter. You can keep the vision from the beginning to the end more concrete, right? And that's good. That is good. But I will say this much, actually. I will say this much. I think that, But yeah, you know, it's like, overall, it's just like, yeah, that is a large freaking team. Like, Deltarune probably has a substantially smaller team than whatever the hell this is. I mean, 21 people? That's a big number. That's actually a big freaking number, you know? You know, like, legitimately. Like, it's not a... That is not a small number for an indie team. I've never seen, like... I mean, no. I take that back. I have never seen that. Snoot Game. Caveman and Studios had that. But Caveman and Studios was like on another level. Like, they were really trying to go into it. Like, and they were very, You know, it's a very serious thing. Like, it's not easy, man. A second. But yeah, you know, that's actually pretty crazy. Like, 21 people for an indie team. That is not a small number. That is a good number. That is actually a solid, healthy number for any team. Hell, some people would even say it's a bit bloated.
But who is your team?
All right.
Validate has a team of mostly all people of color.
Oh, God. Okay, all people of color. All people of color. You know, well, either way, I was going to say, you know, I mean, all right, so no white people. Oh, geez, mostly
all people of color.
All people of color. Okay, that's a bit concerning. I mean, I'll say this much right now. You do not want to actually brag about that on public. You never want to brag about the race of your employees, actually. You never, and even if you're not bragging, you never really want to state that. Like, hey, our employees, they're all black. Not a single white person around. And of course, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You might just have a small business which is in an area which is like predominantly black. And, you know, because of that, you know, you just have like a large black populace. Like maybe maybe you're like a franchisee owner and you're like at a Popeyes, let's say, or you're a McDonald's, and you're like literally all Hispanic workers or all like, you know, white workers or whatever the hell, whatever you are. They might be any kind of actual race or ethnicity, you know, ethnic group within the area. You know, it's not always super duper diverse. Seriously, it's not always like that. That's okay. That's fine. But in this case, she's bragging about having no white people. I don't think that's what's going on here.
We have no white people on our team. I did that because...
Oh, no. Oh, wait a minute. What did she just say? I don't like this Chong guy. Wait a minute. Wait a freaking minute. No.
Safe environment.
No.
I did that because...
No, she admits it?
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, no.
Oh, no. She did not actually just admit that. Oh, no fucking way. Did she actually just admit that? That she legitimately did that? Like she manipulated their... Oh my god. Oh no, you never do that.
I wanted to create a safe environment.
No, lady, no.
And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me.
I mean, yeah, you want like-minded people who are driven towards a similar goal, like of making a good game. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's what I like to do. I mean, hell, I'm not even joking. If there's a creative difference, then yeah, maybe you got to separate. But, you know, or maybe like you feel like somebody's just kind of being a bit weird and they make you feel uncomfortable, then yeah, there's that too. You know? Oh, God.
Around people who are just like me.
Oh, God.
And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may okay, but it was really a microaggression.
Oh, no! She did not actually say this. Oh, no. Oh, you'd never say that. You never say that. You never say that in public. You keep that private, lady. You never do that. Unless you're like doing a diversity, equity, inclusion thing, in which case then you're like, oh yeah, you know, we got the government grant because all our employees are black. I mean, they were white before, but we fired those guys and now they're, you know, we replaced them with a more diverse cast of people. Like, you never freaking admit that in public. You don't do that, lady. She doesn't even seem like a bad lady. Oh, God.
And no one wants to deal with that while you're trying to make a game.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Okay, now they're just roasting her. Hi, at EA is not hiring white people because they're hard to work with. Part of your official... Oh, God. At Cliffhanger Devs. Oh, God. A new AAA studio from at EA specializing in... Oh, God. Elon Musk! Oh, shit! Elon's in on this, too. He's like, whoa! Exclamation mark. It's racist against white people, so it's fine or something. Oh, God. Oh, Astromeda. Oh, there's a game here. Oh, God. It means nothing because it's not real. I'm still not sure what it means non-binary. I don't know what it means either. This shit is happening everywhere. I was told by an acting manager he can't represent me because I'm a white male and that it's company policy to turn me away. I recorded the convo and will sue them. What is happening? Bro, I'm Hispanic. Let me say this right now. I actually, because I am a minority, like IRL, like I'm actually Hispanic and shit, I could have gotten scholarships for, I was actually, I think I was actually available for it. I could have gotten Hispanic scholarships. But I felt uncomfortable about it. My mom wanted me to because her philosophy is, you know, take advantage of whatever opportunity you're given. She's like that. She's very cutthroat in that way. But my dad and I, you know, and I don't like my dad all the time. My dad's, you know, he's a cool dude. I love my dad, but it's like, you know, we don't always get along. Same with my mom, I guess. But it's like, dear God, why am I even saying that? That's so stupid. I love my parents. I love my family. But it's like, you know, the one thing that we actually agreed on in this case was like, you know, my dad felt uncomfortable about it. It's kind of why I've never used the GI Bill, even though he's like a veteran and I'm his son. And I could probably use it to try and, you know, actually get something out of it. You know, I've gotten so many emails about, hey, you know, you might be eligible for the GI Bill. You may be eligible. You may be this. You may be that. You know, I never want to be... I don't want that label. I want to actually do a good job. And I want people to look at me and say, hey, you know, he's doing a good fucking job. Let's work with that guy. You know what I mean? Let me check my Steam message. Aww. Aww. Carrot, why you guys send me this? Send me like a little thing. Send me some short. This better not be NSFW. Wait, I just clicked on the link. Oh, what the hell? Oh, crap. What the heck? What the heck? Whoa. Oh, no. Oh, no. Copyright music. Ah! No. No. Click off. No. Ah! No, stop it. Help. Where? Oh, no. What do I do? Where's the music? Where is it? Oh, shit. I actually don't know where the music is. No. I actually don't know where the music is. What the hell? Oh, I see where it is. Okay. Oh, my God. Okay, well, that better not copyright strike me. I better not get copyright strike for that. This is not a YouTube short. Uh-oh. I clicked on the link. Thank you for sending me that Sigma short carrot clips. Dragon's Dogma. Is that Chris? Is that Call Me Chris in the thumbnail? Dragon's Dogma 2 has some of the funny moments. Man, Call Me Chris is pretty chill. I like her more than Oompaville, to be real with you. I know that sounds kind of mean, but Oompaville is, he's okay, I guess. Call Me Chris, though, she was on that grind set. I'm not really into her content, I won't deny, but I think she's kind of cooler. She's a chiller personality, you know? I like that personality more. Like, legitimately. And I don't mean that because she's a woman, okay? It's not like Pokimane where it's like, oh my god, Pokimane is so, like, my favorite streamer. Like, no. It's because she's just chill. I think she's chill. So let's watch a video of Asmongold. I might actually get copyright strike for this. Please, Asmongold, if I please don't copyright strike me. I beg of you, King Asmon, please. I am on your side here, buddy. Please don't slit my throat. Okay, let's see this actually. Let's see this man getting canceled. I'm canceled again. Look at this. And another guy's like, gosh, I donated. Okay, I'm sorry. God damn it. I don't have that much money. I have to invest in... Oh, man. You know, I donate to Wikipedia. I donate to freaking... Oh, man. I don't like talking about it either. I always make it anonymous so no one knows who I am.
That one lady is trying, you know, another cancel attempt.
Oh, God. Another... That's... Oh, no. Who's this Kotaku chick? Chief Alyssa Mercante. Okay, let's check her out. Alyssa Mercante. Trying to cancel him again. That is not who I'm looking for. I'm looking for Alyssa. Okay, did she just leave Twitter? Because that is not who I was looking for. Camgirl. Oh. Yuck. It's not working? Okay, there we go. Now it's working. What is this? EA Games racist?
Most people nowadays, especially if you're hiring in the circles where they have pronouns in their bios and stuff, are so terrified of microaggressions that they will just sit in their offices and not talk to anybody because they're so scared that they're going to offend you and get fired or get accused of being racist or get accused of being homophobic or whatever the new ism is.
What the fuck? Oh my god, is this actually this bad? Holy crap.
TikTok, and it says, this is Danny Lalonders, a non-binary game developer. She was hired by Cliffhanger Devs to create a game based on Marvel's Black Panther. Now, Cliffhanger Games is like a subsidiary, I guess, or like a small developing team.
Oh, that was bigger than I thought it would be. Oh, shit.
And she says she doesn't hire white people because they're unsafe and it's hard to work with them, and only hires people of color.
What the hell, man? What is wrong with people, man? Like, why would you do that? Like, never ever publicly say that. If let's say I'm a little concerned about these people who are left-leaning, and I don't think they're gonna work well in the company. Like, let's say I feel that way, and it's a personal reason. I am not gonna go screaming at the top of my lungs, I didn't hire them because they were gay. Like, I'm not gonna say it's because they're gay. Like, obviously not, you idiot. Like, never do that. I'm gonna say that it's because personally, I did not mesh well with those people. I felt like they were not the best for the company. And that might be honest truth. Maybe they aren't. And like, that's totally fine. But this is not the same thing. You are literally publicly saying, they're white. I don't like white people that much. You know, I don't really want to. I don't work well with them. I don't like white people. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? I do not care what your race is. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. If you're cool, if you chill, if you my homie, then it don't matter. Okay, legit, man. I care about the content of your character, not the color of your skin you know, and all these other things. I care about who you are as a person. Like, I would love to, you know, maybe, you know, I'd love to work with someone like, let's say, James Baldwin, right? But if I felt like James Baldwin wouldn't do, like, let's say I had a writing team, and it's composed of Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Martin Luther King Jr., because, you know, he's an exceptional philosopher and writer, freaking, you know, James Baldwin. Let's assume I feel like James Baldwin is not the best in this thing. Or George W. Buckley Jr. at the end, you know, just because I want to put a conservative guy there. Or Christopher Hitchens. I put all those guys there, right, in the team. That's the writing team. It's a big one. It's a dream team, guys. The best writers ever. And a plethora of different stuff. Different viewpoints. Let's say I feel like James Baldwin won't do so well because maybe he's he's gay and it's just like, well, you know, it's messed up. Yeah, I feel like he won't do effectively. I'll try and tell him, hey, I'm sorry, Baldwin. You are really effective. You are someone who would help make this dream team work. But because of creative differences and actual personal baggage and who we are as people, I can't really have you on here. And I'm sorry. It makes some of the people uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable specifically, let's say. Like, I don't want to say that the other people, because I don't want to speak on behalf of them. Per se, I don't want to. But I will say, you know, I feel a bit uncomfortable as well, actually. Personally, I feel uncomfortable about working with you. I'm very sorry. You know, I hope that you do really well. So be it. So on forth. It's totally fine. That's a respectful way to do it, actually. It's a professional way, even, too. To just let them go and say, no, we don't want to work with you. That's a respectful way of doing it. There might be even deeper stuff. Maybe James Baldwin did something deep. Maybe he brought someone on that was, like, underage that he shouldn't have. Or maybe he tried to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. That is totally understandable. If that was actually, especially that, if that happens. And it's coupled with the fact that you already feel like character-wise you just don't mesh very well. Totally understandable. But to say that you did it because they are white or black is so insane. It's also illegal, and it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so freaking bad. And that's just it. That's where it gets really bad, because truth be told, what happens here actually is what you've done is you have set a very dangerous precedent. Because in the case of what I was just talking about, you know, let's actually replace Baldwin. Let's say Buckley Jr. is the guy I get rid of, because Buckley Jr. is, you know, Christopher Hitchens. Let's say one of the two ended up becoming very conservative people. Buckley Jr. was historically a very conservative orator and rhetorician. Christopher Hitchens was always a fairly, like, I'll admit he was liberal at one point, but he was always somewhat conservative. I'll say this much: he supported the war in Iraq even after the WMDs were revealed to not be real. He still supported that incursion, mostly because he was actually educated on the matter and understood what was really going on there, with respect to him. But overall, you know, let's say I go to Hitchens and I say, Mr. Hitchens, you are an exceptional orator. Just like I told Baldwin, you are someone who I hope extreme success for. However, I'm sorry to say that I personally feel as though we cannot work together legitimately. I do not think that we can mesh very well together. I think the rest of the team might not work as well with you. They might not even say it. It might just be you yourself, and you feel like it won't work with the rest of the team long term either. You might feel that way. Maybe in the future you're going to bring people on, and you feel like, hey, this is just not going to work out perfectly, and I think that we could do it better if you were not a part. That's a huge deal. That works too, and you're honest with it. You know what? I hope Hitchens, if that would ever have happened, his response would be something like, you know what? All right, I understand. I hope you the best. I wish you the best as well, and I hope this project works. So be it. That's the respectful way to do it. Hell, that's maybe even the professional way to do it. Don't bullshit. Just be honest and say you feel uncomfortable. And don't fucking respond. Do not be an asshole. Do not guilt trip people. Do not be a bad person. Be honest and methodical about it if you can. Just say that, okay? Hell, I think the biggest mistake I've ever made is I've been too soft on people. I should be more ruthless. You know, I should be more, I don't want to say demanding, but I'm not even demanding. It should be more like, hey, don't fucking do that. You know, don't do this. Don't do that, actually. I'm sorry. It's just personal stuff, I think.
I'm a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games.
It is
but
fairly large.
Who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team.
That's so bad. It's so bad.
I wanted to create a safe environment, and I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that.
It's
that is
so
not
bad.
What I'm saying.
It's so bad.
Sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something made it okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no
Okay, can I just say what she is literally admitting to here is saying that, yeah, I don't get white people on my team. Like, I have legitimately sought out to make sure that white people do not get on my team. She's actually admitted this. Quite literally. Not just figuratively. She is quite literally admitted this. And this is, by the way, the same person that worked with Sweet Baby. Like, the same corporation that was Sweet Baby Inc. That is not a good sign. It's not a good sign ever. It's a terrible sign. It's a terrible sign. Number one. And number two, it is... Oh, God. It is extremely concerning. If this is the professionalism of the video game industry, like, if this is what the standard is. Which, by the way, I mean, there's not a lot of standard. I mean, understandably so, because, I mean, there is, but there's also not. I mean, it's a very fluid thing. There's a lot of stuff that can go into making a game, actually. You know, there's tons of stuff. I mean, there's so many projects out there, so many games that come out and that had no contracts within them, no stipulations at all. So many that have none of that hashing out, even. And that's fine. They come out and they can do really well, especially if there's, like, no money involved. Like, if it's just, like, free. Or if you're doing a mod project, fucking hell, man, it works. I kid you not, it works well. Like, it's fairly easy, like Snoop Game. It's not too bad. But when it concerns monetization, something like this, whoo-wee. Oh, no. This is really concerned. Like, oh, jeez. Epic Mike. Who's Epic Mike? G plus G diversity hire. Screenwriter, full-time gamer, freaking film critic. It's all a conspiracy. Oh, wait a minute. Is that a freaking joke? Damn it, Mike, you freaking goober. I should have seen the... Look at Ted. Oh, my God. G plus G diversity. Oh, my God. Gamer. Is that Gamers and Geeks? Is that what that is? Oh, my God. I didn't even realize that because I don't even watch Gamers and Geeks that much.
I'm white, but I microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while you're trying to make a game that they love.
Oh, my God.
She literally says,
oh, he's Epic Mike.
Because I want it to be safe.
Why did I not realize this is Epic Mike? Bro, he actually does look like his PFP. He's got an even bigger afro, actually, admit. The afro here is, like, smaller than this. Holy crap. I didn't even realize that. God damn, bro. Man, I'm gonna be real with you, man. I've seen afros out there that just are so freaking huge. I'm impressed, man. Then again, I mean, I feel like people, if they just naturally grow out their hair in general, like, your hair will get big. Like, no joke. Like, I don't usually grow out my hair that much. I keep it pretty short. Usually. But, like, god damn. God damn, Mike, man. You got the freaking... got the style, man.
Not saying white people aren't safe. I think you are.
I mean, like, here's the thing, though. She's literally actively saying that the actual issue here is she's actively saying that she's making sure that the, you know, whenever she does projects, whenever she gets into a position of authority, she actively makes a certain group, like a demographic of people, of white people, in this case, you know, she makes white people not have the capability of pursuing success. Purely because they're white. That is actually the problem. I do want to clarify this right now. The actual issue with it is not that she's making a project where she has her own people, right? Like, it's understandable if you're getting friends on, all that stuff, and they just so happen to have, like, that kind of thing, or maybe they are that way. That's somewhat of a thing in of itself. But to hire people on the basis of their skin color. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, no. Like, the problem is that she's literally... like, this is something that was for many years. For black people, was one of the biggest issues, because there were so many jobs that were being made, but most of the time, they were very rarely... like, only a much smaller fraction were going to black people. And they usually weren't quite as good as the jobs that were going for the general populace, specifically white people, which made up to this day makes up a bulk of the, populace of the United States. That was a big issue. Totally understandable. It's why the law, which she's pretty much breaking right now, to my knowledge, was actually put in place. But now she's doing it. Like, that is so bad. And I don't think she gets it.
That was kind of like exactly what you
This is
said.
too loud.
White people are probably like the safest people you can hire right now. What the hell? They'll lick your shoe like, oh, please don't call
Please
me
give me a
racist."
job. I am white,
Please
but
give me-
I can do it.
It's so dumb. Don't ever say that again. I hate that. I hate that. Blabs, never say that
I can
again.
do it.
Please.
So who is
My
this
God.
woman, guys? Well,
Oh,
you won't
jeez.
really be able to know because not only does she have one Twitter account, she's got actually 2 Twitter accounts, and both of them are protected.
Aww.
You cannot find anything about her. However, she really wants you to know in both of her accounts that she is a she, they.
Oh.
Her opinions are all her own, but she doesn't want you to see them.
Yes, and the
Okay.
other one said that she was 8. Yeah, so one of them is 18 plus, and both of them are like, all opinions are my own. So she's also a food blogger and associate
Oh,
narrative
jeez.
designer. So I went into a little deep dive. I found this woman. She has her
I
own
found her.
website. I went some digging. She's got her own little website. So if you go to her homepage, which is this, if you click work, she is doing a visual novel, and you guys.
Oh, it is a
love-
visual novel project. Oh. I didn't even realize that. Well, that's interesting. I mean, that's actually interesting. Like 21 people? For a visual novel, that actually works. I mean, I'd assume if you want to... Tip for her. She has 21 people. Hopefully they were able to... They already did this, but here's the thing you want. Usually you want it like this. You have like 3 or 4 writers. Usually around at most. I mean, that'll maybe include yourself if you are the team. Like if you're really trying to make the team work, but that's what you'll do. If you want to be a part of it, you'll be a writer too. Maybe even, you might have other roles. It depends. Because you are a team leader, it's pretty important that you can do some certain things at times. I mean, it depends, just so you can push things forward if you have to. But you have like 3 to 4 writers, have around 8-10 artists maybe. So that's already about 16 people. Jeez. So maybe around 8 people if you can. Artists, that's pretty good. We'll probably run the process through faster. Might be 6 to 8 actually, depending on the situation. Not counting back any backup artists you might have. Have 1 music guy. Usually, just so they can have a consistency to the music behind, the background music and the such, for the title and more. Have what else? Oh, yes, programmers. Have around 3 or 4 programmers if you can. It's just good because they can assist in like putting commits into the computer code and the such. Recommended language that you'd use for a visual novel. Again, I think Ren'Py is the best to use. I don't know if there's others that people use actually, because maybe there are. Maybe there's certain things that could work better. But Ren'Py is really nice if you're an indie studio. Python, it's just a good language. I've said it before. It's a good fucking programming language, for God's sake. But that's just a recommendation I get here. I'm going to give here. Just have around 8 artists. A couple programmers. Couple writers. Not too many, give or take. Obviously, you're going to have to, like, depending on the project, you'll have to give a level, like a number. Like, there is a consistency to what is successful, like a successful team. But yeah, jeez, wow. Okay, interesting. So she's working on a visual novel project. Yeah, 21 people is a pretty large group. You're lucky. That's actually a pretty good number. I'm not even joking. That's a pretty good number. Oh, God, what am I watching? Dear Lord. Jeez. Oh, man.
communities look like at all. Like, they don't dress like this, they don't act like this, and the thing is, most of them will make fun of the people that
2 years ago, and she's already saying that's for white people only. So
Here's the
you
thing.
can't-
She's pulling a Jennifer Lawrence saying that there's no.
Wait, that was
people
2
of
years. Wait, was
color.
that video 2 years old? Oh God. No. No freaking way. So that's been happening. That chick's been doing this crap for years. Oh shit. Oh shit, my bad. Press the button. I shouldn't have. Oh no.
For rom-coms, there is.
well, and also
Oh, why is my
that
stream
thing-
weird?
Yeah, like they definitely 100.
What's wrong with my stream? What did I just do? What did I my stream?
Here's the other thing. The black people that like actual
Oh, my
black
stream looks
people
okay now.
and actual black culture and stuff, they're not playing this fucking game. There's this weird thing right now that's going on
Oh
in
God.
culture where these people that push for representation and diversity and push for black representation in films and stuff
Yeah.
seem to think that that most black people walk around wearing nose rings and dressing very like androgynously and
Yeah,
other
I don't
stuff.
think I've ever
But
seen a black person do that. I mean, maybe like one or two people. I don't think I've ever seen a black person actually dress up like that. Like legitimately. No offense. I'm just saying, man. Like I'm not joking, man. Like I've never seen someone who's black just do that. I mean, white people not too much either, really. Just normal people in general don't really do it. No offense.
It is not indicative of black culture. Most I mean, like, I grew up in like mostly white areas and mostly black areas and stuff like that. That is not indicative of what those communities look like at all. Like, they don't dress like this, they don't act like this, and the thing is, most of them will make fun of the people that look like this. Like, we used to make fun of people that dress like that because they were like the outliers in the community. Like, people were like, oh, yo, that's a dude that dresses like that wears like girl shoes all the time. Like, we don't talk to that dude or whatever. It's just a weird thing. It's like this weird push to make to fit into the current culture, and so
man, I'm gonna
everybody
say this
has-
right now, man. I honestly, man, look, I feel freaking sad about, man. There's this thing I was doing recently, and I was working for a guy helping put up a fence, and these were some old gentlemen in the neighborhood. They're really cool guys, honestly. They were nice people to meet and stuff. And it's like, you know, I always wonder what the work ethic of these people is like what the work culture and ethic a lot of people have in these industries. Because, like, I was only for like 2.5 days, I think, working on that fence, actually, because we were doing it really fast. Those guys were professionals. They knew what they were doing. They knew, you know, they were nice people. They were like dying breed and stuff, right? But, you know, that's how they put it. You know, they're a dying breed. And you know, honestly, the sad part about it is my dad says the same thing. You know, they're a dying breed. You know, people that know how to weld, how to do woodworking. You know, it fucking sucks, but it's kind of true. I'm sad about it. I'm going to miss that because I really, you know, I want to learn how to woodwork myself, to be quite frank with you. I think it's a cool thing, being a carpenter. Hey, Jesus was a carpenter. That's pretty cool. A pretty cool profession to learn. You know, there's a reason for it, probably. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, and this is just me, I think that the most depressing thing about it was that I felt kind of like an idiot because I was doing something. I was moving stuff around. That was my whole job. That's the reason I was there. And while I was doing it, I realized I was getting a little behind for what they wanted. And I felt kind of sad because, you know, I was like, oh, crap. I felt really dumb. I felt like I sucked. You know, and I was trying to do better. I didn't want to suck ass. You know, I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to make them happy. Because, you know, I'm getting paid even. I was like, oh, gosh, I got to do this well. But while I was doing it, without realizing, they called me to ask to go for a lunch break, and I didn't go on the lunch break. You know, I feel really bad, dude. They make good food. They had, like, dude, I missed... I'm so mad about it, man. It was... Apparently, they had, like, filet mignon or something. It was so good, apparently. I don't even know if it was that. Dude, I love... Southern food is so good, man. I'm gonna be real with you, man. I eat Popeye's chicken. I eat so much crap from the South. It's so good, man. Cajun food, all this stuff. It's so good. You know, Puerto Rican food's good too. All of it's good, man. All of it, man. Even if you look at it and you don't think it's good, it's delicious, man. I promise you, man, it is. And I felt like I was so sad because I was like, oh, God. I was not, like, sad that, oh, crap, I didn't take a break, which I should have taken because that would have actually helped me, like, work better, not, like, slower over time. That was my mistake. You know, even though I did get my work done for the day. The issue was that, and this is my mistake. it's like I felt like I disrespected. I did not mean to do that. I had still been working actually the entire time, and I felt like, you know, because my whole work culture is you don't stop until you're finished, right? I hate doing something and never finishing it. I fucking hate it. Even if my mother does not think that. She thinks I'm the opposite. But I try my best to legitimately, you know, I really do try my best to do a good job if I'm given a task. I will never be satisfied with less than perfect. But I will acknowledge that perfection can't be realized. I will never be satisfied with anything less than the best that I can do. Legitimately. If I can do something well, I will do it as well as can be. And that's kind of what I, you know, during that thing I did. And, you know, they were making fun of me, you know, the guys. They're like, John, man. They're like, Nairobin, man. You know, or they didn't speak like that. They're like, man, you missed it, you know, you, man, they, you know, his wife made, because his wife made the food, and I felt so bad. But, like, she made food, and it's like, you missed it, man. It was delicious, and I was just eating a sandwich, and the next day there, and we were working on it, and I just, man, I was like, man, I missed that, man, I regret it. And I regret it now. It would have been delicious. I feel bad for his wife. I didn't mean to. I hope she doesn't feel like I disrespected her in any way. I hope not, because she's probably a nice lady. Honestly, you know, they're home. They have a nice home. They live just across the street from me. You know, I have a cat too. He's a fluffy guy. You know, he's a hunter, man. He's a chonker too. It's funny. I got a cat personally. You know, they're nice people. If they ever need any help with another project, you know, I mean, I would like to get paid, obviously, but it's like, you know, they can just call me and I'll come to help and stuff, you know, as much as I can, because you know, it's a nice thing. And, you know, that's how you do good business. You just go there and you do the job, you do what you're doing, you get paid what you're paid, you know, like what you can, you know, get paid what you can. You're not what like you want. You get paid what you can. And obviously, if it's what you want, then that's the best case scenario. But, you know, if you get paid, you're paid. You know, that's good. You know, if you get money, man, you get money. That's never a bad thing, I don't think. Well, I guess if you get corrupted by it. But, like, if you get money, you get money. And if you don't get money, then don't work for him, okay? Just if you feel uncomfortable about it. You know, just be honest. You know, he was honest. Let me say this right now. I learned some stuff from business and that, you know, and I had already known it, but I learned it in practice there, too. Because he told me, you know, he was very frank. He was like, hey, you know, don't treat this like a community project. I'm going to pay you, right? He said that from the very onset. And he didn't tell me how much I was going to get paid. But he paid me. He paid me, like, I think $200 for 2.5 days of work. And that was, you know, I thought that was a good payment. You know, I was okay with that, legitimately. You know, I don't know how much they were actually getting paid in general. Like, I have no idea how all these guys in the first place were actually getting paid overall. All I know is that the people, you know, my neighbor was working on my neighbor's fence. And, you know, I was fine with that. Like, I hope my neighbor doesn't watch my streams, because first of all, that's going to be awkward. My streams are kind of uncouth. But second of all, it's also because, like, and not just because it's anonymous, it's also because, like, you know, I don't want him to find out I worked on the fence. Like, he doesn't need to thank me or anything, actually. I just hope he enjoys the fence. If he does not, you know, I want to, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of, like, asking them, like, when they come back from their vacation, I'm going to ask him, hey, you know, you like the fence? I saw him working there, and it's like, oh, yeah, the fence is great. If they say that, I'll be like, that's really nice. You know, I'm really happy about that. I might even say that I helped the fence. You know, see that? See, that's a good humble brag right there. Now, at the same time, if they say they did not like the fence, then I'm going to be like, well, you know, okay, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, so, yeah, you know, I don't know who that was, you know, I'm sorry. I gotta end the stream. I'm probably gonna get a copyright strike. I hope not. From the damn stream because of copyrighted music or some crap. I'm gonna try and fix that once the YouTube, you know, gives me the opportunity to. I apologize. YouTube, if you're watching this, apologies. I did not mean to do anything sus here. I will. I'm gonna try and mute those portions of it. If you give me, like, just notify me with the bot, I'll do it. But with that having been said, I'm sorry for taking so long. I talk too much, but you know, I feel like these people really need to learn to just work together better. You know, I know, like, paper, like, let me saying this right now. Making contracts on paper, very important. But sometimes the best contract you can ever make is one with trust. That's the best pact, because that's what everything is built off of. The whole idea behind that paper right there is that if it's done in a court of law, you trust the law to actually do it proper. That's the whole reason behind it. You know? So keep that in mind. And again, with that having all been said, thank you all for watching, and I think I'll end the stream here. Thanks, guys. And, you know, keep it up, everyone. Peace.